Hello, my creative friends. This is Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com. This past summer, Catherine Pooler and Maureen Merritt asked me and the rest of the Stamp Nation design team if we'd like to be a part of their very trendy holiday class. It's coming out late October 2014. This card is inspired by that class, but not a part of that class. I actually made it after all of my cards have been made for the class, so you get to see it here. I'm going to be using the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper and the Cursive Mary stencil from Memory Box. It's a very intricate, delicate stencil, so in order to get a good adhesion, I'm going to use some spray adhesive. I'm just going to put my stencil into a box. This is best done outside. And then what I have here is the Elmer's Craft Bond multi-purpose adhesive. It's a temporary adhesive if you let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. If you put it directly on your paper when it's wet, it will become a permanent adhesion. As you can see, I removed some of the tackiness off on my shirt. You can put it on your jeans, and that just ensures that you won't peel up the paper after you're done with the technique we're going to be doing. To keep my watercolor paper from moving around on me, I'm just going to take a little bit of a snail adhesive from Stampin' Up, and I'm just going to adhere it to my craft sheet. Then I'll lay my stencil on top with the adhesive side down, and I'm just lining up the sides so that my script looks fairly straight. I'm starting out with some tumbled glass distress ink and the distress tool from Tim Holtz. I will have a complete list of everything that I use on my blog. There's a link in the description below if you're on YouTube. But what I do is I just pounce the tool into my ink and then I pounce it onto the stencil. I don't want to rub across the stencil too hard because that intricate die cut will just lift right up, and I want to make sure that I have a crisp white image when I pull up my stencil. My camera ran out of space and turned off, so you missed me spritzing the stencil with some pearl glimmer mist, and that's how I got those little spots. And you can't see it on camera, but it does have a nice shimmer to it. For my sentiment, I'll be using the Merry Christmas Messages from Hero Arts and some VersaFine Black Onyx ink. I'm going to stamp it onto a piece of vellum cardstock from Stampin' Up. It's just about a 1 1/4 inch strip. And the VersaFine takes a long time to dry. So I'm going to take some clear embossing powder, again from Stampin' Up, and I'm just going to sprinkle it over that ink, and then I will heat set it with my heat tool. To heat set that embossing powder, I'm going to use my heat tool from Stampin' Up. It has 2 settings. I'm going to put it on setting 1, and this is to help with the warping. The vellum is a thin paper, and the thinner the paper, the more it warps. So I put it on setting 1, and then I'll turn it upside down and heat it a little bit from the back side too, and that helps as well. I'm going to turn this vellum piece into a banner, and the way I like to do that is to make a slit up the middle and go from either side up to that middle point. It makes a nice little fishtail at the end. Then I'm going to wrap my vellum piece around to the back and use a bone folder to crease it. I'll just use some snail adhesive to adhere it to the back side. Sewing and stitching on cards is also really popular right now, so I thought I would just take this up to my sewing machine and sew a little line of thread on the side. I like the way the strings look, so I decided to just leave them hanging, but you could take some tape and tape it to the back. My banner was still popping up, so I'm going to take this Tombow Mono Multi Glue, just little tiny dots of glue in the thickest part of that sentiment, and then just hold it for a few seconds and it will adhere to my cardstock. Now my stencil piece is ready to be adhered to my card base. It's the same size as my stencil piece, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 once it's folded. And I'm using that Tombow Mono Multi Glue again to adhere this stenciled watercolor paper to my card base. I do this so I can kind of adjust it and move it around to make sure that it's completely even. And also in case there's any warpage from the little bit of shimmer mist that I added. Here I decided I really didn't like the tails after all of those threads, so I'm just going to take my paper snips and cut them off. I hope you liked this look at my first trendy Christmas card of 2014. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And be sure to come back on Thursday to see the second card I made using similar technique, as well as the launch of a very trendy holiday 2.0. I'll see you then. In the meantime, I hope you find some time today to get a little bit creative. Bye!